Hey friends, we're going to do a reality assessment right here. I'm going to give you 5 ways which prepared people and unprepared people are not going to make it through what's coming. These 5 mistakes are common in our communities. I talked to a lot of you guys. I've bounced emails back and forth. I've heard from a lot of you. I've heard after action reports of you guys going through crises, whether it's 7 days without power, whether it's going through a hurricane, and you guys are telling me what you missed and what mistakes you made, and also my experience overseas dealing with refugees, dealing in areas where hunger is a real issue. Along the border of Afghanistan, dealing with aftermath of disasters. I was doing disaster relief up in those areas. And this is a reality, friends. I'm going to give you a wake-up call. And this may step on some of your toes. And you may say, that's just hard to do, Steve, or that's expensive to fix. But I'm going to tell you what's probably going to take you out in a collapse. And the funny thing is that food is like way, way, way down the list. It's not even really on this list. Bulk calories, not really on this list because it probably won't be the thing that takes you out. And I know that's kind of a little against everything, but let's jump into it. Let's do a reality check, friends. Let me know what you guys think down below. I'll explain my rationale and kind of some examples and stuff as I go along the way, but yeah. All right, so the first thing is not enough water. And I know that keeps coming up, but it needs to keep coming up because people don't have enough water. People have no idea how much water they burn through, and I keep hearing from you guys. Whenever I get an after-action report from a disaster or a power outage or whatever, one of the first things I almost always hear from you guys is, we didn't realize how much water we go through. And I've given you the handy math right there, which is you need 5 gallons drinking water. 1 gallon drinking water per person. 5 days requires 5 gallons to get one person through 5 days. That's just drinking water. That's assuming that you're eating out of canned goods. You're not having to rehydrate rice and all that kind of stuff like that. If you're going to rehydrate rice, if you're going to cook beans from dry state, you're going to need more water than that. A handy, clean drinking water / cooking water, 2 gallons per person per day. And I think the handy dandy idea is 30 days. That's here for Pittsburgh. Generally, it rains. It's gonna give me enough rain in a 30-day period to start replenishing my water sources. So I think minimum 60 gallons per person. And you're going to say to me, you're going to push back on that and say, Steve, that's hard to do. That's a lot of storage. If you get water bricks out there, which is a great option there, you're looking at a lot of money invested there too. How do you store that? I've suggested, well, one, if you drink these things, grab a bunch of packs of this. This is what normies do. They're going to grab some packets of water. Realize that this is probably not the most efficient way to stockpile water. Putting tap water in bottles you already have is really the best way to go. Now, I've been on a diet soda recovery recently, but I used to drink a whole lot of diet sodas, like Walmart brand Mountain Lightning Diet or whatever. Diet soda bottles are great. Now, they're not the most efficient usage because, you get a lot of 2-liter bottles that way. But you only have to rinse them out because they don't have any sugar in them, so that there's nothing really for stuff to grow in. You just rinse them out and then you just fill them up with water. And so I have a bazillion 2-liter bottles of water just all over the place. In fact, my parents are staying with me and my mom wanted some diet soda or whatever, and I thought I put a diet soda in there, but in fact, it was actually a refilled bottle, and so she's like, why does this taste like water? It's because I refilled that because it hadn't made its way downstairs into storage yet. Sorry. I popped another bottle in there for her. But most preppers don't have enough stored water. And then on top of that, they don't have rain catchment systems. They don't have ways to replenish their water. And if you think that you got a Berkey and you're good, that's not the whole thing. You need to find the water to get into the Berkey, right? You need to collect the rainwater. You need to try out your systems and see how real it really is, okay? So not enough water. Water will kill you. Lack of water is really the number one problem out there. And what happens is it's not that you won't have water. You'll probably get water. It probably won't be clean water. And that's what happens in third world countries all the time, is that when purified water goes away, people start drinking river water. They start drinking stream water. They start drinking water that hasn't been treated, and sewage gets into the water sources, and people are downstream drinking the same. It's bad. This is where a lot of the diseases come from. This is what takes out a huge portion of the people, okay? Not enough water. Second thing, and this leads right into it, is that usually lack of sanitation and all that leads right into not enough meds. Now, I'm saying meds, but think sanitation / treatment for sanitation. You need to have antibiotics. If you don't have antibiotics, you're really not serious about surviving. If you have 30 boomsticks and you don't have antibiotics, I mean, I hate to be the one to say it to you, but you're not really serious about surviving. Or you've made a critical mistake, and I'm calling you out, right? If you've invested in lots of other things, but you haven't stocked up on antibiotics, the best way to do that is Jace Medical. They will prescribe you the antibiotics. I know you can get the fish stuff, right? You can still find it here and there, but they've been cracking down on it. But you can still kind of slip through the cracks. But it's more expensive than Jace Medical. Okay, so just get the Jace, right? Now, I would suggest maybe getting some more of the stuff that's the Zithro, which is the Z-Pack. Jace Medical doesn't give you quite as much of that as you really should have. You should have some more Z-Packs, which is, like I said, Zithro. So that's the one I would suggest getting stocked up on in addition to the Jace Medical. But get the Jace Medical pack. I know it costs a bit of money. I'll put it in the pinned comment. I have a discount code for you. That's the best I can get for you. But it is comparably priced or on the lower end of against other competitors out there, and it's cheaper. I did the math on it. It's cheaper than actually getting the fish stuff. So antibiotics, but not only antibiotics, you need anti-diarrhea. Okay, Pepto-Bismol tablets or bismuth tablets. Be careful with the stuff that just plugs you up. And I don't know why I'm blanking on that stuff. But be careful and be aware of the products that you're using, because if you have digestive failure or infection inside, and you just take that stuff, Imodium is the stuff that plugs you up. That can kill you. Be careful with that. Make sure you're taking something more along the lines of bismuth that actually treats, that actually destroys the bacteria and the infection on the inside. Make sure you have a bunch of those. Also, if somebody's going a lot or it's even coming out the other end, do you have ways of rehydrating them? That is a huge issue. Rehydration of people who are dehydrated, that kills people in third world countries so readily. If you take them into a hospital or something like that, they're going to give them an IV and they'll be fine. Do you have, you probably don't have IVs at home. Maybe you do. Maybe you're prepared. Cool. But do you have other ways to rehydrate people? And I'm talking about electrolytes, water, a plan of how you're going to deal with somebody who's dehydrated and an understanding of that. And then that leads into soaps and disinfectants. You need this stuff. Right now, people are mostly using disinfectants and all that kind of stuff like that. So it's not so bad because you're staying ahead of it. Dish soap, hand soap, stuff to sterilize stuff with. As long as you're staying ahead of things, good. But once people start getting sick, they're going to spread that sick to each other. And so if you have people getting sick in your home, they're going to start passing that along. When you start having problems with your plumbing, your sanitation, and you start having to worry about where the poo is going and where other stuff is, this is going to make your task of staying clean and sanitized so much harder, because people are going to start getting stuff on their hands, and then they're going to go into the kitchen, and stuff in the kitchen is going to get infected, and then that's going to cause more people to get sick, and then that's going to cause more people to get contaminated, and then you see how the cycle works. This is destructive. This is one of the biggest things at refugee camps, refugee centers, is that this spiral is deadly, and it just kills large percentages of the populations of these camps, because these cycles get started. You need to have very clear sanitation. You need to have soaps and everything like that. It's the cheapest solution. Lots and lots of hand soap. Lots and lots of disinfectant, like rubbing alcohol, having these kind of things, lots of vinegar. Have stuff on hand that you can disinfect stuff readily and easily. And you need to be able to treat people who do get sick. And not mask symptoms, but treat, right? That's number 2. So not enough water, not enough meds or sanitation. 3, heat and cool. Now, this list is kind of in order for me, but realize that given your situation, different times of year, your location, these could be out of order. Heat and cool can go up to the top of the list like real fast if you're in the middle of a storm. The people in Texas that had their power go out in that winter storm, heat and cool went right to the top of the list above water real fast, right? So heat and cool. Can you heat or cool, depending on the weather, yourselves in a safe manner? Understand the tools that you have, the limitations that you have, and understand ventilation. If you're heating, make sure that you have good ventilation so that you're not killing people. Because this happens all the time in third world countries. They start a wood stove indoors, it sucks all the oxygen out of the room, and it kills everyone. They're warm, but they're dead. And this is a huge, huge problem. Cooling can be a big problem. I'm not as much of an expert about that because it doesn't really get so hot up here. So staying cool just means just having some water that you can kind of soak in, or just survive ride out the day, or get underground to get cool, right? But down south in some of the hotter places in the country, that's a bigger issue. You need to think that through. Swamp coolers, if it's dry where you are, and even if it's not dry, swamp coolers, fans, get all that kind of stuff out in. But heat, lack of heat can kill rapidly up in the north, right? If you're cold, if you get cold and wet, you're in serious trouble. Can you really heat your home? Because a lot of people die from carbon monoxide. They die from these type of things because they don't understand the ventilation situation. And on top of that, maybe they just don't have fuel. People set their houses on fire. People sleep in their cars to stay warm, and they die from carbon monoxide. This happens every single time. Friends, it's deadly. Deadly. 4, this sounds like food, but I'm not really talking about food. I'm talking about malnutrition. Because if you look in the camps, you look at places, people generally, it takes a while to starve to death, but malnutrition sets you on the path to being sick and unable to work very, very quickly. You may have body mass on you, ready to be digested, but if you don't have some critical building blocks, if you don't have some critical vitamins and such, malnutrition sets in real fast. And one of the easiest ways to solve the malnutrition issue is meat. Animal protein. Animal protein gives you a broad spectrum of all the things that you need, generally speaking. And by eating animal protein, you will solve a lot of those trace minerals and stuff like that you need. Multivitamins are a big plus as well. Having a bunch of multivitamins on the shelf is a great idea. It's very cost effective, but also having meat in your stockpile, right? We recommend having either canned meat or freeze-dried meat for the long haul. That's really the best way to go. Canned is going to be cheaper and more affordable. If you have freeze-dried, that lasts basically forever, and it's a lot tastier, and that's a great way to go too. But either way, having animal protein will solve your malnutrition problems. Now, I know the vegans are just about to throw a hissy. Are there other ways of getting around that? Yes, there are, but you got to know what you're doing, and vegans have a tendency to suffer from certain malnutrition things that they have to either take supplements for, because without meat, without animal protein, eggs work. If you want to drink milk, you don't have to kill stuff, right? But you do need animal protein. So that is a big one right there. That, when you look at refugee camps around the world, that's a huge thing. They have specialists that focus in on making sure that everyone's getting all the nutrition that they need, not just calories, but the kinds of calories and the micronutrients and all that kind of stuff like that you need to survive. Does that usually kill you? No, but it makes you a lot more susceptible to getting sick, which goes back to number 2. People getting malnourished, they get sick, and then they die from being sick. That's what happens a lot of times, and they also get a lot of other people sick along the way, and that's a big problem. Number 5, no big surprise here, security. During unrest, during situations like that, a lot of people perish because home break-ins, violent crime, revenge killings. And I know that the idea out there is get lots of boomsticks and protect yourself that way. I'm going to say number 1, location, location, location. If you're not near where the problems are, then you're not affected by the problems directly, okay? Security-wise, don't be there, okay? And there's ways of keeping people away from your place, right? If you're out of the city and there's a road, well then you want to talk to people down the road between you and the city, and you want to help them do security to keep people from coming up that road. Okay, that's, if it's a major highway, whatever, get a whole bunch of people downstream of where this is to come up and do tours and do duties to make sure that the wrong type of people aren't coming down this road. The people that are at the point are going to be absolutely all in favor of this, and the people downstream, which would you rather do? Do a 3 or 4 day stint down at the security gate and to keep people out of your community, out of your town, that shouldn't be coming into your town or your area or your neighborhood? Or would you rather do 24/7 security in your home? It's a pretty easy thought process there. Location, location, location. Make sure that the problem doesn't come to you. Make sure you're not where the problem is. And that really hints in on this point. People. You need people. Security, the biggest thing you can do for security is not have all the tools and boomsticks and all that kind of stuff like that. It's have people who care about you. People who care about you and people who are in your camp. People who are looking out for you, and that means you have to look out for them too. Being part of a community will make you safer than having all the tools and gizmos and gadgets. If you're a loner, you can be picked off relatively easy by anyone who has any little bit of experience, and even people who don't have experience will be able to figure it out. If you're by yourself, easy to take you out. If you're just guarding your family yourself, easy to take you out. Now, location, location, location can really help you out if you're up in the boonies, up in the mountains. But remember, if you can find you, other people can find you too. And if you're isolated, you're not safe. And finally, just awareness of what's going on around you. Where are you? What are the problems? Who are the people that are problems? And dealing with them. But working with the community and working with other people really will help you out. I did not carry a boomstick over in Afghanistan, but we were protected in a lot of cases by people who did. And so we had Afghan police, Afghan army, and stuff like that protecting us. Our friends. We had powerful friends, and those powerful friends guaranteed our security. They guaranteed our safety. And they told us it's not safe to go in that area. We said, fine, we won't go there. And we knew better than to ask why, because they never knew why or they never told us why. But then inevitably something would happen in that area. And they'd be like, we just knew. We heard from friends who heard from family members who heard from, it just spread through the grapevine. This valley, this time, don't be there. And so we weren't. Awareness and relationships are going to protect you better than a boomstick. I know that firsthand. I lived it, and I'm telling you the same thing. Have powerful friends. Figure out who the power brokers are in your area. Be friends of them. Be a resource to them, and they will protect you. And this is hugely important out there. All right, friends, not enough water, not enough sanitation or meds, not enough heat or cooling capabilities, because that can get you. Malnutrition, dealing with malnutrition, make sure you have the multivitamins. It's so cheap. Just get a bunch of boxes of multivitamins out there. Please, please, please. Get the senior ones. They're basically the same as the other ones, except they don't have as much iron in them. That way you can get them to people who need them. And then security. Make sure you have relationships. Make sure you understand your situation around you and work with other people to come up with security plans so that you're not carrying the whole weight. A larger perimeter guarded by a lot more people is a lot better than a tiny perimeter guarded by you because you got to sleep. All right, friends, let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching. This is Poplar Prepper, where we cover practical topics, and we also have the Poplar Report out there that covers current events and what's going on out there. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there is one right here on the screen. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Prepper out.